Denise Roche, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. We will be supporting this bill to select committee. However, we do have some concerns about it. We support the bill's attempt to address the exploitation of migrant workers. However, we are concerned that the provisions in this bill as it stands now may make it more difficult for migrants who are working in sweatshop-type arrangements. We've all heard the stories and seen the newspaper reports about immigration scams where workers are employed for extremely long hours for low pay or no pay, and some who have their passports taken off them by their employer. We've also heard the reports of workers who've actually paid their employer in order to work for them to get their applications for a work visa through. It's a growing problem, and Darian Fenton, I think, spoke quite passionately about this. Certainly in Auckland, where labour inspectors are working for MB, it's one of the major issues that they deal with for a lot of their time. While we support the provisions in the bill that's directed at employers who are migrants themselves who exploit others, which make it an offence for employers who knowingly employ migrant workers on non-work visas, we are still concerned that this might force the problem of exploited migrant workers even further underground. These workers are so desperate to live and work in Aotearoa, New Zealand, that they are working illegally in the first place. They work in an environment where if they speak up, they're likely to be deported. While this provision may be a disincentive for those types of employers, it raises the stakes for those who might be employed by them to ensure their silence. The pressure on them to remain silent increases, and we may need to look at developing like an open type of visa for those workers while these cases are being investigated. There is a climate of fear for these people, but sadly it exists for many low-paid workers across the board, and it's not helped by the amendments to the Employment Relations Act that are currently before the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee, and it wasn't helped by the 90-day trials, and it certainly hasn't been helped by the introduction of youth rates that legalises the discrimination on the basis of age. Combine those factors with a punitive approach to the safety net of welfare, where those who are on benefits are now deemed to be job seekers, and we have an entire industrial relations environment where workers don't speak up anyway. For those who are even more vulnerable, for migrant workers, who are way on the weak side of the balance of power between the employer and the employee, it's even worse. The solution, Mr Speaker, as we see it, is to improve worker representation. That means improve the rights of unions and promote their ability to bargain collectively. And we need to improve the industrial relations climate as a whole so that workers' rights are the norm, instead of the current government's moves to deregulate the workplace environment, which actively encourages bad employers to rip workers off. Mr Speaker, we do have some other concerns as well around other aspects of the bill, which our colleague Andrew Little from Labour has already touched on. Those are the things like creeping biometrics, privacy, the powers of the immigration officials. However, we will be supporting it to select committee because we want to see and hear from migrant workers themselves. Thank you.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 in favour.
Green Party. Green Party. Did you get it?
Green Party, would they?
14 in favour.
New Zealand First.
Opposed.
Māori Party.
3 in favour.
Mana. Abstain. Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United
1 in
Future.
favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
The ayes are 111, the noes are 7, abstentions 1. The motion is agreed to.
Immigration Amendment Bill Number 2, first reading.
I'll just deal with the Select Committee. The question is that the Immigration Amendment Bill Number 2 be considered by the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. A point of order, Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I seek leave for the following votes on the third reading of the Social Housing Reform, Housing Restructuring and Tenancy Matters Amendment Bill to be recorded in the journals. New Zealand Labour Party 33 votes for the noes, Green Party 14 votes for the noes, New Zealand First 7 votes for the noes, Mana 1 vote for the noes, Brendan Horan 1 vote for the noes. Mr Speaker, this does not affect the outcome of the vote.
Yeah, as long as members are aware, it records the position in the journals but doesn't change the vote. Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there anyone opposed for that course of action? There is not. Leave is granted. The journals will so record. Call on Government Order of the Day number 12.